What changes do you think need to be made at an individualistic and societal level for madness to be more accepted and less stigmatized?
I think at an individual level, like in all marginal communities, it starts with visibility and having conversations. We need to be able to sit comfortably, we need to be able to sit uncomfortably to begin with, because we're never comfortable to begin with anything that we're unfamiliar with, or that triggers us a little, or that's too different from us. Comfort comes from safety and security and stability and things that are familiar to us. So I think we need to be better as human beings at being respectful, at embracing difference and being inclusive of other worldviews. We've become a very judgmental society. I think particularly in Western democracies that are very capitalistic, the focus of human beings is on economizing, is on being a product of consumption, where we're seen for the value that we contribute to the economy rather than the value that we contribute to culture or to the social fabric of society. And we see that through kind of the feminization of different workforces and, typical like gendered roles being paid a lot less, or like volunteering not being that valued, or particular roles being paid a lot more than others. So I think it starts with, inherent respect and dignity. It starts with being able to listen deeply, listen non-judgmentally, and then really as a society, like individually, have those conversations about, well, what does mental health look like for you? What does vulnerability look like for you? What does madness mean to you? Even asking those questions around meaning. So I think it all starts there, because most of us, if not ourselves, have a mental health issue at least ourselves or in our family or in our community. So being able to sit uncomfortably with that and learning from one another is, I think, the starting place, and then talk about issues of like Satanism and ableism. At a societal and institutional level, we have some very serious conversations to be had around the way that our political economies are structured. At a political level, even looking at two-party preferred systems where we set up an environment that's violent. It's structural violence when people are being pitted against one another. It's not collaborative, it's not partnership, it's people attacking one another. What does that communicate to children growing up? As long as we have these structures and systems that are set up in hierarchical ways, including the legal system, legalistic systems are very adversarial. All these institutions, if we have adversarial systems like politics and the legal system, what it sets up is violence in relationship, and it doesn't really set up ways of communicating in healthy ways. So I think we need to address systems in how they relate to one another in more equitable ways, more partnership and relational ways rather than adversarial ways. And then I think we really need to address the issue of profit and capitalism, and how that erodes and takes away from the truth and the solutions of society, where vested interests exist, such as, an example is the big pharmaceutical industry, where a lot of big pharma companies will pick and choose what they want to publish depending on what the outcomes are for that particular drug, even in terms of what the placebos are. They'll also lobby politicians and fund a lot of politicians to do their work. How are we ever going to seek reconciliation and truth around the causation of mental health issues when these very powerful companies that the top 1% own in the world have all the power in political discourse and decision making? If we don't address those issues of injustice, we will continue to respond to the world in ways that seek to continue to help people profit rather than actually address the truth, which is that social injustice is predominantly what causes mental health issues in the world.